Before I start this video, I need you to forget everything you know about manga. You think Berserk is a masterpiece? Wrong. Sure, it has a dark, interesting story with crazy fights and wild characters, but it's missing a key feature that the manga I'm talking about today has in surplus. Not only am I calling this manga better than Berserk, but I am also saying that it's the best manga ever made. And this is coming from someone who's read like a total of 5 manga. While most opinions are subjective, this is a case where that is simply not true. And what I say here today is fact, and soon you will all understand why. But first, let me paint a scene. It's Christmas. I'm bing chilling at my aunt's house, hanging out with the extended family. Now, every year we do a Secret Santa type thing. Each family member draws a name, and that person's the person they have to buy a gift for. This year, one of my cousins got me. So, in search of the perfect gift for me, he and his girlfriend had gone to look at some manga. They were exploring the usual options like Chainsaw Man, Berserk, etc. when his girlfriend came across a beautiful manga sitting right there on the shelf, ready to be bought. After some time, she convinced my cousin to buy it, and thus there it was, lying in my hands on Christmas Day, waiting for me to remove the thin layer of wrapping paper to reveal the treasure inside. Upon tearing open the wrapping paper, I lay my eyes on a striking cover featuring a man with very revealing clothing on. I read the title as Dark Fight Island, a relatively bland title that didn't seem to fit the cover art. Then I looked closer and found that the first word was not in fact dark, but rather dick. Yes, there in my hands was a pristine copy of Dick Fight Island. The story of Dick Fight Island is quite self-explanatory. The story takes place in an archipelago made up of 8 separate islands. Each island is home to its own tribe, and every 4 years, one male member of each tribe is selected to compete in a grand tournament to decide the ruler of the archipelago. How does one win, you might ask? And that is quite obviously by showing their opponent the ultimate pleasure. While this plot may seem simple, it's the deeper themes of the story that truly make it a masterpiece. So let's get to the bottom of what exactly makes this manga so legendary, and how the beautiful men featured in this manga aren't all that this story has to offer. Right from the start, it's made obvious that the overarching theme of this manga is the theme of war and the consequences that come with war. We begin our story with a young man jumping out of a helicopter. His name is Haruto, an enthusiastic young man who is dead set on winning the tournament. We learn that he has been studying abroad, but is actually from the island and is part of the Jewel clan. During his time abroad though, he has learned some sort of secret weapon from his roommate, this weapon getting revealed a few pages later. Right away, this manga sets up the mystery of this secret technique, and it kept me on my toes waiting to see what was to come. Side note, it is here that I have found my first and pretty much only complaint. Just a few pages in, and while I've been seeing plenty of big oily men, the manga has the audacity to put a woman in the manga. While I mourned the death of my raging boner, the next page resuscitated that shit. There, drawn to perfection, was a femboy, catboy hybrid thing. But it is with this character that the manga delivers its first lesson on the nature of war. A lesson teaching of the costs of war. We see the men changing into their armor as the first part of the tournament is set to begin very soon. Just before the start of the tournament, we finally get to see all of the contestants. There's a lot to take in here. Each of them has funky ass dick armor, each one being custom made and having designs that reflect their powers in some way. And we got some real funky designs here. This man straight up has an axe on his dick, while this man is such an edgy bastard that he has like the vampire themed, like straight up like out of Hot Topic looking armor. But this beautiful scene is interrupted by a heartbreaking announcement. Both Haruto and the femboy catboy hybrid thing are being disqualified before the tournament even began, as they are seen as not fit to participate. But Haruto, being the Chad main character he is, won't have this. He suggests that the two of them should fight, the winner being allowed to participate. And so, thus begins the first battle of the manga. The femboy opens up with a strong whip attack, revealing that his dick armor is able to act like a whip. At first, it seems to miss Haruto, but then it's revealed that not only has it made contact, but it has grabbed Haruto's powerful shaft. The femboy starts vibrating the whip. On the ropes now, Haruto grabs the whip and pulls the femboy in, putting him in position for the ultimate attack. An attack that he claims targets the prostate. Yup, he pulls out the finger jutsu and shoves that shit up his ass. That's the genius secret ability that his roommate, by the way, taught him. Of course, the femboy is overcome by pleasure, and thus the tournament takes its first victim. So quickly, this manga comments on the nature of loss as the fan favorite character is taken from us far too soon. But this truly is the nature of war. As Sun Tzu once said, war never changes, and this hits hard here. The second lesson of this manga is the tragedy of facing someone you love in war. We watch as the second fight of the tournament features two lovers who are forced to face each other on the battlefield, both knowing that only one of them will leave. They start the battle explosively, trading fast-paced attacks that are drawn in a style very much akin to the battles in Berserk. Finally, Yudha, the seemingly more hesitant of the two, gets peace out right where he wants him, and he goes for the kill. But with quick thinking, Pisao kisses Yudha, messing up his mental game immensely. But it's not quite over yet. Yudha pins Pisao down, and they start having a sword fight. From there, Yudha sees Pisao's opening, and having been taught Haruto's secret technique the night before, he goes in for the kill. As this guy makes this face for some reason, and Pisao astral projects out of pleasure, but it's still not over, as Pisao pulls Yudha in and his sword enters his opening. God damn, this is really hard to make YouTube appropriate. He enters and subsequently is defeated, not standing a chance. And there lies Pisao, knowing that he, with his own ass, has sealed his lover's fate. The manga lingers on this moment for a few frames, in a design choice that I believe is made to let the reality of the situation sink in. While these last few examples paint a very sad, depressing image, it's the last fight of the manga that subverts this pattern and delivers an uplifting message. In the last fight, Haruto is put up against one of the strongest contenders in the competition. But despite the challenge, Haruto knows that if he tries hard enough, he might just win the whole tournament. But this is where the true theme of this manga is revealed. In the end, he decides to concede. As he looks out into the audience, he sees the roommate who had taught him all he knew, an outsider named Matthew, who shortly after their meeting became Haruto's lover. Matthew had come of his own volition from a far-off country just to see Haruto, and seeing Matthew out there cheering for him and showing just how much he cares changes something in Haruto. He suddenly realizes how useless the tournament is, and as he realizes that the thing he really wants is waiting for him outside of the battlefield, he leaves. Here we get a beautiful scene as he walks off of the battlefield, finally letting go of that part of himself for the sake of love. As if this segment of the story wasn't perfect enough, the manga makes a final comment on the nature of war, as the current king of the islands is sent into the battle in Haruto's place, and the king wins with ease, ultimately meaning that the tournament meant nothing, obviously a comment on the futility of war. Overall, while a simple manga on the surface, Dick Fight Island explores many themes that aren't often covered in manga. It shows the more human side of war, and ultimately delivers its thoughts on what is truly important in life. And if that paired with the big oily men isn't a beautiful thing, I don't know what is.